What's up guys, Tyler Yasuda here with Tytaniumfitness. Today's video is going to be quite a bit of a departure from my normal stuff, and I apologize for that, but I do have a bunch of other videos I am in the middle of sort of producing and editing that I'll get out as soon as possible, but I wanted to make this video while it's still fresh on my mind because I think it's something that's very important, something that I need to talk about. I realize that my channel isn't that big. I only have like 1,000 something subscribers, and my influence really isn't that widespread or anything like that, but I figure that whatever influence I have, I should probably use it as positively as I can, and this is something that sort of hit me pretty hard recently, and I think it's something that we should consider. So the topic of today's video is how to be brave, and I don't want anybody to think that just because I'm making a video about this that I'm trying to say that I'm always brave or that I always behave in the way that I should, because that's definitely not true. In fact, I probably struggle with this just as much as anybody else, if not more. We're going to use 3 specific examples. The first one is going to be riding a roller coaster. The second one is going to be bullying, and specifically there's a channel called FouseyTube. I don't know if you guys know this channel. Really popular channel, really great stuff. He does a bunch of social experiments, and this one experiment, he did a bullying experiment here at my school, UCLA, and I'll explain that a little bit later, but I'll put a link to that video here. And the third situation is, it's something that is a very touchy subject, and I realize that, and I'll try to be as sensitive as I can while I talk about this, but he did another experiment recently, which is one of the main reasons why I'm even making this video, is because it hit me pretty hard. It was pretty heavy, so you know, just watch your own discretion. But this video was a public rape experiment, and that sounds kind of strange, kind of bad, but I'll explain that in a bit. So in the first example, we have a roller coaster. You know, you're waiting in line for the roller coaster and you're afraid, if you're afraid of roller coasters, and this sort of fear is sort of irrational because, I mean, I guess the thing that you're afraid of is the roller coaster breaking, or maybe just the drop, or whatever it is. It's not something that you're actually in any sort of real danger. I mean, you could be worried about the roller coaster breaking, but the chances of that actually happening are very, very slim, so it's not actually a legitimate concern. I guess another good example, if the roller coaster one doesn't work for you, is talking to girls or guys, or trying to get somebody's phone number, something like that. Because really there's no risk there either. If you do it and it doesn't work out, I mean, worst case scenario, they say no, you move on, and that's that. One part of being brave, I guess, is recognizing whether or not your fear is actually rational fear. I mean, if there's no actual bad consequence, there's no reason for you to be that scared. So the second situation, go watch that video of the bullying experiment if you haven't seen it already. But basically what happens in that video is Yusuf and one of his friends, they set up the situation where they portray a bully and the bullied, I guess. Basically the bully is pushing, shoving, hitting, yelling at this kid to tell him to do his homework, and he's doing it sort of out in the middle of campus where everybody can see, and it's kind of incredible the amount of people that just they walk by and they don't do anything, they don't stop to help or anything like that. I mean, thankfully there are a few people who will stop and help, but the proportion was very surprising and sort of disturbing. There's this thing called the Bystander Effect. Basically what it is that in a crowd of people, if somebody sees something going wrong, they just sort of become a quote-unquote bystander. And basically what happens is they assume that they don't need to get involved because somebody else will intervene. But the problem with that is that if everybody assumes that somebody else is going to intervene, then nobody ever does, and whatever is going wrong is just going to continue. Third situation, the public rape experiment. Again, if you haven't seen the video, make sure you watch it first. If you're willing to watch it, I realize that it's something that it strikes a nerve for a lot of us, so watch your own discretion, I guess. But basically what he did was he set up a speaker in a public bathroom stall that basically made it sound like somebody was in there about to get raped, like a young girl was in there about to get raped by presumably a guy. And the way they set it up is they had hidden cameras set up so they could see who would bust in through the stall and try to intervene or help, and who would sort of listen to the noise and turn their back or run away. Thankfully, most of the people in this experiment, they did try to help. However, it sort of makes me sick to think that even one person, I mean there were multiple people, but to think that even one person would hear the screams or whatever and they would turn around and run away, that makes me sick. See, I guess the thing is, for these 2 examples, the fear is sort of rational because, let's say for the bullying example, if you were to get involved, there's a good chance that the bully might turn on you. Likewise for the rape example, if you were to bust down that stall door and the rapist or the attacker was armed, or maybe if they were just a really big dude or whatever, they could turn on you and they could potentially harm you as well. But the thing that really, or the reason that this sort of gets me so much, or that makes me feel the way that I do is, I mean, try to imagine if the person being attacked, the kid that was getting bullied, or the girl that was getting raped, imagine if that was somebody that you're close to, you know, one of your friends, one of your family members, somebody that you love. Damn. If it was somebody that you cared about, I can't imagine that you would even hesitate to get involved or to intervene. If somebody's in a position where they're unable to protect themselves and you're in a position where you're able to help them, then it's sort of your moral responsibility to take that chance and get involved and do whatever you can to help. Keep in mind, I'm not saying that you should endanger your own life on purpose, but you shouldn't let your fear stop you from doing what you know is right. So the bottom line is, guys, that everybody gets scared. So the first thing that you should evaluate is whether or not your fear is rational. So in the case of the roller coaster or talking to a girl, guy, whatever, the consequences aren't really that bad. So if the consequences aren't that severe, your fear might not be founded. On the other hand, with something more serious like this bullying experiment or the rape experiment, the consequences of you getting involved could be very severe. I could only imagine how scared I would be in either of those situations. Being brave isn't about never being scared. Everybody gets scared. Being afraid is okay. Being a coward is not.
Titanium hard today, bruh.
Titanium hard today.